Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Welcome to Fake News, everyone. Unfortunately, today is full of real news. We don't do this very often on the show. Fake News on Thursdays, which has been running for a little over 2 years now, 2.5 years, I believe. But Dan, we have a special circumstance that is happening today, and we have a guest. Who is our guest today?
Our guest is Sarah Verardo. She is, I actually don't know what the title is, but she runs the Independence Fund. They make tracked vehicles for disabled veterans so they could get around. Mm-hmm. They also have some, one of their organizations is called Operation Resiliency, and they fund retreats, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, for military units that have been decimated either by combat loss or suicide or both.
Right now, we're going through a lot of combat loss over in Kabul as we speak. You called this on the show a week ago, almost word for word.
Well, I mean, people called this shit years ago. It's not like I'm some kind of goddamn wizard or anything. Everybody knew what was going to happen when you have a lunatic 7th century ideological fucking authoritarians at the helm, and you create a power vacuum in that area, and then you give them billions of dollars worth of weaponry. What the fuck do you think was going to happen? Yeah,
one of the videos I saw this morning was some Taliban that were just joyriding in a Black Hawk, which was fun. How do they even know how to fly that?
I mean, you can get it. They only got it like 10 feet off the ground. That's not the hard part.
It's still impressive.
The hard part is manipulating the aircraft, and then the real hard part is actually after, when you have to do maintenance on that thing, right? They're not going to be able to figure that part out. So I'm not worried about that. That part is actually almost quaint and funny,
right?
How ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
But what's not funny is the, like, I don't know, 3,000 fucking RPGs grenade launchers we left them, or the 70,000 grenades. That's not funny.
Right.
Because now they're being used against us today, actually.
Yeah, so far there's been 2 explosions, in case you're just tuning into the news today, potentially a third. What have you heard, Sarah, that's going on today?
I've heard similar. Obviously, it's a really fluid situation, and we've confirmed at least 12 that have been killed in action, more wounded, and I think that casualty count will just continue, unfortunately, to climb.
And one of those was a medic, I believe. At last count, I believe it was 3 Marines and then a medic.
No, it's 10 Marines.
It's 10 Marines.
11 Marines
yeah.
and a medic.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Why did the media then just run with 3 Marines? Did the number just sound better because it was lower versus what the actual casualty was?
They're operating with the same pipeline of information that everybody else is. Everything, the information is always way behind in a situation like this because things are happening all the time. I mean, my understanding is that there's a pile of mangled bodies and they can't tell how many people are dead. So all these numbers you're hearing in the news right now, I would just say ignore them until probably 2 or 3 days from now, unless the situation escalates. I mean, it sounds like there's been a third bombing, and I expect there to be more, unless there's some kind of response from the military.
Speaking of which, because both of our phones keep going off, so we apologize. We don't often do this on the show. One of our friends is saying, hearing that the Taliban are welding the gates shut from the outside, expecting more attacks in the morning. Is that the same thing you're hearing, Sarah?
Well, when we kind of get into what actually has been going on for the last however many days, and it's all a blur now, the government wasn't doing it, and we had to send our own guys in, and people that I know Dan and I are friends with. So we'll get into that. But as I learned what went on last night, they were saying, I read the after action this morning, that the U.S. military was really sealing off the gates, bulldozing. I mean, it's pretty shocking. It sounds like that airport is closed. If you're not out, very unfortunately, I don't think someone is going to get out.
Really? So you're expecting the people that are still on the ground there to potentially never return?
No, people that are not inside of that Kabul airport gate right now, yeah, they're dead. Unless they go home and figure out a way to fucking stay off the radar for a while. But if you're a woman or you're somebody that they can figure out has worked with the United States government, they're going to fucking kill your ass. And that, remember...
that. I mean, that's the thing. They're checking that at the gate. Yeah. They're looking at the paperwork. Yeah.
The thing that I mentioned last week about the bat high system, which is that you probably saw a picture of it in the press over the last couple of days where there were these articles about the digital or the biometrics of these people have been compromised. That little box that the dude's holding up in front of his face, taking a picture of somebody's iris, that's what that is. And there's an entire database. So they have control of these bat hide systems now. They can just fucking stand there with. They don't have to check documents. They can stand there with it. Everybody that comes by, they scan their iris. If it shows up in that database as somebody that's worked with the U.S., dead, right? We just handed all this shit to them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's some of the Sun Tzu memes that are coming out right now are fucking kind of funny in a dark way. Like what it's like quotes from The Art of War, but it says like the first thing you should do in combat is give up your most strategic airbase.
Right, and your drones and
arm the enemy. That's what we've done. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. This is one of the most. I know that slavery is the national shame of America, but man, we're getting pretty goddamn close right now, aren't we? I mean, this is one of the most shameful things I've ever seen. The fact that the U.S. government won't do shit, and that we've had to send our own people and spend our own money while these motherfuckers are drawing salaries from our tax dollars, by the way, and doing nothing. So one of the situations that happened sometime early today, their time, last night for us, a private citizen who's over there on his own. Well, not on his own, but he's over there. They have a small team, go out into the city, snatch some people up, recover them, bring them back into the airport, because the local commander, the 1st Brigade, 82nd Airborne Commander, Kleisner, didn't enjoy the way that all happened. He kicked those 400 people out, and then the Joint Chiefs say to us that it wasn't him, it was the State Department, it was Wilson, Ambassador Wilson, telling them to get out, right? I don't give a fuck who it was, right? If the ambassador comes to me and I'm the 82nd Brigade commander, right, and he says, hey, those 400 people didn't come the way I wanted them to, they need to leave, I would say, fuck you, bitch. Come down here and make them leave, and you got to go through me to do it. These people are fucking cowards, right? That is an unlawful order, and you do not have to follow it. And by the way, if you're a commander in the 82nd Airborne, the ambassador of Afghanistan does not fall in your chain of command. Fuck that guy. Whenever shit starts,
they're very clear to me this morning, Dan. I mean, you read the same thing.
Yeah.
That this is a State Department mission. That the U.S. military personnel is falling under the State Department. They do not have their own jurisdiction, nor their own ability to follow and make orders. They're doing at the will of the State Department. It's criminal.
Yeah, it is absolutely criminal. What do you think is going to be the end result, Sarah? Because right now, this kind of is hitting the American media. It's 3:00 East Coast time right now. I'm not sure what time it is in Afghanistan, but if according to these Texas matches that we're getting, if there's going to be more bombs in the morning,
it's almost midnight.
It is almost midnight. Yeah. So by the time
my time, 1:30 a.m. because they're 8.5 hours ahead of me.
Gotcha. So in the middle of the night, sometime for us tonight, more bombs will probably be going off in the morning. What do you think the end result is going to be? And is there any shot that Biden will rescind the demand to get the troops out of the area and actually add more troops to help out the remaining people there that are still outside the gates?
I would love to try to make sense of someone and something that really does seem to be senseless right now. I don't think any of us can. We're living in such a divided time, but it really does seem like the one thing that Republicans and Democrats, both sides, members of Congress agree on is the absolute incompetence of this administration and how they have left our allies to be slaughtered and now our own military to be slaughtered. Unacceptable. I don't think there's a happy ending to any part of that. And very unfortunately, because I want to cling on to a lot of hope. Afghanistan is personal for many of us. It's very deeply personal to me. A lot of loss in my house is because of what went on in Afghanistan. And I don't see a way forward that doesn't involve, maintaining what some are calling an endless war. And unfortunately, at this point, people that are far smarter than me have to figure that out. I just know that we're losing people at home because of it. I've done more referrals for inpatient, emergency, mental health services for combat veterans who feel like they left their Terps behind. They abandoned their moral obligation. They're struggling with that. And then now we have our own men being slaughtered overseas by the Taliban that we are basically begging and pleading with them to be nice to us. It's disgraceful. Yeah,
look, it's absolutely insane. And when you say endless, what do you mean? Once we leave and get out of there, that war will continue there? Or do you think Americans will jump back in? Or are we just leaving the region altogether and just saying, look, you guys are on your own. Good luck with your own fucking country now?
I mean, listen, I don't know the answer to that from a military standpoint. I think that the withdrawal was completely botched, and everybody would say that. It could have, maybe this was a war that couldn't be won in military terms, so to speak, but it could have been won in the perception and how we drew down our troops and, not taking our military out first. I mean, it seemed like this was I can't even put into words who decided that 9/11 should be this target date in which all of our troops were out of Afghanistan. Like, the disconnect there is actually really scary. And so it seems like it's just been PR after PR. And I personally think he's going to double down on this and not, and really just say, hey, this is Afghanistan. And we're going to basically leave with total disgrace to this country.
Yeah, look, all of his comments thus far have led us to believe that he is going to double down and say, no, we've got to get out of there eventually. And, you got to crack a few eggs. It's pretty much his sentiment towards this.
Yeah, but you don't crack eggs at the fucking grocery store, bitch. You crack them when you have the egg over the frying pan.
Yep.
Right? And in the same way, you don't fucking start withdrawing combat operations until the fucking civilians are gone. What the fuck are we doing here?
I don't know. And that's what's so confusing about all of this is why not do it quietly, privately, and get everybody out there when you can, and then announce a date later on in the future once everybody is out of the country safely. I don't understand what the need for announcing an exact date to the world about when you're leaving. It's kind of like telling your wife that there's a surprise party tonight and to act surprised. Like, well, you already spoiled it. So I don't get it at all. This one's really, really fucking confusing, and it's a brutal way to start off your administration because we're only 6-7 months in for him. I don't know how you recover from that so early on in an administration.
Mm-hmm. And if you say I was wrong, okay, we all know, and we all said, I mean, veteran groups, so many groups have been saying, especially for the last several years, like, let's get our terps out. And I'm sure most people who watch your show are very, very familiar with what that means. But I realized in my civilian world, I'm having to explain to people that these are not literally just people who are interpreters, like interpreting a language. These are cultural advisors and people that fought truly shoulder to shoulder in Afghanistan with our own troops. And they were promised, I mean, never mind the moral obligation of it, right? Of taking care of those who fight with you. They were promised 2 years of service to America, a good and faithful service. They will be given a special immigrant visa. And we have just seen that we have left these people to be beaten, slaughtered, and punished for fighting with us. And then we're the ones who leave them there.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane, and we'll be glued to the TV and phones just like everybody else over the next coming days, maybe weeks. I don't know how long this is going to go on for.
Well, I mean, look, by Tuesday of next week, we're supposed to be completely gone, right? That's the drawdown date, and that was the date.
Yeah, August 31st. Yeah,
that's the date that the Taliban says that we have to be out. The fact that the Taliban's telling us anything is fucking ridiculous. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens over the next 24 hours, right? Does a Marine Corps MEU show up and start fucking people up? Does the 82nd deploy its whomever is now on DRF-1, which would probably be 2nd Brigade, my old brigade, I would imagine. Does JSOC go back in because they fucking left, right? They were ordered to leave. Does any of this stuff happen? Do the fucking Night Stalkers, does the 160th SOAR go in and start fucking lighting people up in Apaches and fucking Little Birds? I don't know. I mean, what's a human life? What's an American life worth? We're seeing right now what it's worth to this administration. That is to say, it is not worth anything, right? Otherwise, it's one thing if you send somebody in a black operation or in an intelligence operation and there's a disavow caveat, right? Like where you're going in, you might not come out, right?
Right.
And if things go poorly, you're taking on the risk of being disavowed by your country because the mission is more important. You got it. That's not what this is. We gave these people a deadline for when we were going to withdraw. And all of these Afghan civilians who have become either green card holders in America or have become U.S. citizens, there's quite a few of those still over there too, went back to Afghanistan to see their families probably for the last time because they know that the Taliban's going to fuck that country up as soon as we're gone. So they go back to meet with their family for one last time. Then we start pulling out our military early, and now they're fucking dying by the thousands. That's on us. Yeah. That is exactly what has happened here. And I don't want to hear anything else from anybody else about that. Right.
Or that they couldn't get out. I mean, the White House press secretary, 2 days ago said that she could not call the withdrawal from Afghanistan anything other than a success. I mean, period. And I read that, and I'm looking at these messages and that I'm receiving hundreds of, but at night where we're trying to guide people. And we have kind of like a ragtag team. And, two of the guys who told me to definitely say hello and give a shout out, what they're doing is Tim Kennedy and Nick Palmisano.
Yep.
And we're sort of a small but mighty crew doing this. They're over there. And, I'm sending locations, and we're all staying in touch and trying to figure this out because, again, the government wasn't going to do it. We had to. And that's true for so many, like hundreds of veterans and family members across this country. But yeah, we gave it to them on a silver platter. And now we've got to go in and take care of our own because our own government won't.
On our own dime, too. I know Tim and those guys are there on their own volition and on their own dollar. Nobody's paying for them to be over there. And I heard people are pretty goddamn pissed off that Tim is there, actually. So
that it's not the Tim Kennedy show. That's what the colonel told him. Yep. It's not the Tim Kennedy show.
That's what Colonel Kleisner told him. Mm-hmm. Good. We're going to have something to say to him.
Yeah. Yeah. In the meantime, Sarah, we know you're extremely busy and you're getting prepared for an event. Tell everybody where they can find you and your organization.
Sure. So I'm the CEO of the Independence Fund, so independencefund.org. I'd also really encourage right now to share the Veterans Crisis Line because people are really struggling. So that is 800-273-8255.
Can you say it again?
Yes, 800-273-8255. And, help is available. We never, ever want someone to feel without hope. And right now I'm hearing from so many guys who just feel defeated. They can't go back in the fight, and they left their brothers in arms behind them. And it's a really dark time for so many. So we're kicking off an Operation Resiliency Retreat tonight. Mm-hmm. We're reuniting about 60 paratroopers from 2nd of the 508th and the 82nd. And we're really, it's going to be a hard weekend, but I think really impactful to just talk about, what can we do together from here for really what I think is going to be their most important charge now is like keeping each other going forward and alive.
I agree. And at least they're all together. So everybody can share the same feelings and emotions together over what they're seeing and hearing on the news as it comes in. Because with Twitter, and Dan and I have been talking about this off and on over the last week, you're seeing it in real time, which we didn't have before. Social media wasn't as prevalent, and you're seeing these images and videos come in real time over there. And a lot of these people have iPhones. So, I mean, it's just popping up in 4K.
Right. Yeah, and having to deal with that, and y'all can kick me off anytime. I'll wrap in a second, but it's having to deal with all of that, and then also try to make sense of the fact that maybe you can't go back in, or you just got out, and all the loss. I've heard from so many guys who have said, like, I did 3 tours back to back in Afghanistan, came home, got divorced, or any number of things that it's like Afghanistan defines a lot of their youth. Mm-hmm. And then you have family members. I mean, my husband, he suffered catastrophic and life-changing injuries in Afghanistan 11 years ago, and he now requires full-time care at home. I have 3 girls that, I have 3 girls essentially, and they love him, but he can't parent them in the way that I would have hoped, or I think he would have hoped. And so for many people right now, it's just thinking, was all of this sacrifice, life, limb, peace of mind? And never mind, of course, the money, but it's also really personal to so many of us. Like, what was it worth it? And we're being asked that question every day. And it's a hard one to look in the mirror and answer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of members of our military have been asking that over the last week. Was it worth it, or what was it all about in the first place? Thank you for joining us, Sarah. We're actually going to pop up that picture. Tim Kennedy's posted on Instagram 18 minutes ago, a picture of him at the airport in Kabul. If you wouldn't mind putting that on the screen there, Bob. This is real. Dan, how does he get in there and get access to this so quickly?
I challenge anybody to tell Tim Kennedy what to do.
Thank you. Frankly.
I mean,
yes. He messaged me the other day. This all came around really organically. And then he said something like, all I said to them was, hey guys, like low profile. And then of course I'm laughing when they're all packing, looking like they're going to war on Instagram. And yeah, there was just no telling them they were not going. So, and thank God, because again, I mean, even if our military wanted to, and I'm hearing that, Dan, I bet you are too, from guys that are stationed there that are being told like they cannot, they can't engage. They have to defer to the Taliban. Like we're telling our military to defer to the Taliban. So
yeah, I've gotten a number of calls from members of JSOC this morning, actually, to that effect, that they're being told they can't do shit. So what, I won't say what they're doing, but it's not our system of government that makes this country great. It's that dude. It's Tim. People like him, right? And unfortunately, our main representative on the world stage is this fucking bumbling, senile buffoon, right? And these, pardon my language, Sarah, but these cunts that are in charge of our military now, General Milley, who's more concerned with people's feelings than fighting a goddamn war, and Lloyd Austin, who thinks COVID is more dangerous than fucking combat. You know
Let me tell you one thing. Let me just tell you one thing. And I was talking to Parmigiano about this before I came on. So he said, and I thought this was good, yesterday was the best and worst day because, so Tim went downrange first, Nick followed, and Nick went out with an empty plane. We're partnered, and more about this part will come in the coming weeks and months, but we're partnered with a neighboring country to Afghanistan, which can't get into that part yet. That's been really incredible with helping our group. We're calling it Save Our Allies. It's a group of people that really want to get this done.
And private business people in the United States giving their planes to us, by the way.
Yep.
Not giving a plane like, hey, you can take my plane on vacation this weekend. No, into an active fucking war zone.
Right. Yeah. And so, Nick headed out yesterday. He went after Tim and he left with an empty plane, came back. He had 400 people on it with him, including 46 unaccompanied infants. I mean, and so I think he said it best, and it's true. Like we did a lot of good. We just felt like we had more time to do more good. And now it feels like it's up in flames.
They're out of time.
Yeah, but so we have evacuated through this coalition, Save Our Allies, 5,289 people out of Afghanistan. And Nick told me, so I'll blame him if this part is not true, but he told me that's only second to DOD for evacuation. So it's personal. We've all been working around the clock. Dan threatened to tranquilize or, make me sleep at one point because I was unhinged. But yeah, it's very personal. So thank you both for taking this time too. I really appreciate being with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, sincerely, and best of luck this weekend. Thank you. Bob, if you wouldn't mind, put that picture up of Tim one more time. Dan, you've been over there.
Well, I haven't been to Afghanistan, but I've been to plenty of war.
Right. What is this? Is this people that are actively trying to get on planes or just waiting?
Yeah, these people are comparatively safe right here. These are people that Tim has went out into the city where ISIS and the Taliban are actively hunting people and launching attacks. That's Tim, by the way, in a fucking polo shirt and a fucking ball cap.
He looks like he's in San Diego.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
No. I mean, it's insane. Tim looks like he's going to play 18 at Pebble Beach here in about an hour. Instead, he's over there. And look, we saw him packing. Go back through his Instagram, because I believe, Bob, he had a post a couple days ago with him packing and getting ready. Obviously, he didn't say he was getting ready, what he was getting ready for.
That's him in an airport.
Yeah, that's him in an airport.
Not an American one.
There it is, right there. So what's the date on that? 4 days ago. So within 4 days, he was able to pack up, get on a plane, and then make it to the runway of the Kabul airport over there. It's unbelievable.
He's got a really good travel agent.
He's not using orbits.
It's called I'm Tim Kennedy, and I'm getting on this fucking airplane.
I mean, I hate to laugh, but Jesus Christ, we always call him Captain America. Like, what the fuck,
They
dude?
went out into the city. He and his team went out into the city and snatched up in addition to the people she was talking about getting on an airplane, 400 people, right? He brings them back in, and because the 82nd commander there, Kleisner, felt like his dick got stepped on, he said that. This isn't the Tim Kennedy show. Okay, cool. Here's 400 people that were going to die. Can you take care of them, please? And let's stop measuring our dicks.
Right.
You fucking piece of shit. Like, how big of a piece of fucking shit do you have to be to say something like that to some man who's out there on his vacation time?
Yeah, Tim doesn't have to do any of this, by the way.
No.
Like, whatsoever. The other part about it is a lot of people would ask, well, why take a picture then, right? If this isn't the Tim Kennedy show. He's taking a picture and putting it on Instagram to show you what's actually going on over there.
Yeah.
Because right now, we're hearing shit, and the media is not reporting on it. I'm not sure if the journalists have been moved out of there or if nobody's getting photos, which is odd because in every other time of war, there's typically been 1 million photos that come out about every last thing that's going on. Even at our own fucking border when AOC was there. But Tim is able to go up and take a pic and put it on his Instagram. Hey guys, here's what's going on. Can
you play that video? These are the 400 people he brought in. He's inside the gate in this video, and they're outside of it. These are the people that got kicked out. Just so you know that we're not fucking making this shit up. This is not like some kind of fucking partisan game that we're playing because we don't happen to like the Biden administration and we don't happen to like whomever is in charge over here, right? This is really happening.
Yep.
These are the fucking people that are suffering because of the fucking hubris and cowardice of these assholes that are in charge of us.
And where is this video coming from? Tim's Instagram?
This is not from Tim.
Okay.
This is not on Instagram either. This is a private video.
This is not on
private video.
Yeah, you're not going to see this anyway. This is the video that's shot from outside or from inside of the airport, razor wire, basically.
You can press play, Bob.
Yeah, these are. You can see all these people, and the ones that are, which is the vast majority of them that look like they're wearing fucking masks. It's because they're being, they're women.
Got it.
Those are all women. Primarily women and children in this crowd.
And what we're seeing, this is outside the gate.
They are outside the gate.
They're outside the gate. Okay.
The person filming this is inside.
Is inside the gate.
Yes. They were inside the gate until that 82nd Commander Kleisner told them to get the fuck out. And apparently that was the order of the ambassador, Russ Wilson. Right? So there you go.
And forgive me because I don't know. It appears to be 400 or 500 people there. What would that hurt to put them inside the fucking gates? It's not as if there's 30, 40,000 people.
It wasn't about their presence. It was because it's not the Tim Kennedy show. That's it.
Gotcha. Yeah, who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
It's not the Tim Kennedy show,
it's
fuck it.
It's the administration realize. I mean, this is what it is like when a particularly emotionally abusive spouse sees somebody else being nice to their spouse and then they get angry about it. That's what's happening here. Somebody else is doing my job. Right. And you immediately feel not only impotent, right, but you feel guilty, you feel anger, all that at the same time, and you lash out. And this time they've lashed out and it's going to cost these people their lives, right? Because they know they're not doing their fucking job. And a private citizen on his own dime had to go do it for him. Right. So who knows, man? I mean, I don't actually know what's going to happen here. If the Biden administration isn't currently planning some kind of overwhelming kinetic operation to push these people back, create a perimeter, and get our fucking people out of there, then I think it's about time for a vote of no confidence in his leadership capabilities, whether it's the 25th Amendment or impeachment. Right? We've reached that point now. When Americans are dying because of your incompetence or cowardice or whatever it is, you got to go.
Yeah, impeachment is now trending on Twitter, by the way. So right now, the latest reports are saying 12 troops killed, 15 wounded. ISIS is claiming responsibility for it. I thought I heard Jen Psaki at the press conference say, though, that it wasn't ISIS, that it was the Taliban. So...
who knows? She wouldn't fucking know anyways. That woman's a fucking moron.
Yeah. It's strange. It says,
the Marine Corps general said it was an ISIS member being patted down on the way into the airport. He gave a briefing at the Pentagon while we were setting up for the show, I believe.
Yeah, definitely not Taliban. They wouldn't do that. That'd be really stupid.
Yeah. And then according to another report, it says women are being warned to stay home.
Correct, yeah.
And not go to work as militants.
Not warned by the U.S., right? It's not the State Department saying, hey, the Taliban's fucking around, blah, blah. The Taliban warned them to stay home. I just want to make that clear. I know that may seem like a banal distinction, but just about 6 days ago, they were talking about how they were going to be a more inclusive form of government and not be abusive towards women and shit. And it immediately started. I mean, if anybody took anything these assholes said at face value, you're a fucking fool.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that we haven't taken the opportunity to completely annihilate every single one of these motherfuckers off the face of the earth is going to become one of the biggest mistakes in American foreign policy history.
And right now it says the Taliban has warned women not to go out to work as militants now ruling the streets. They need equality training.
Yeah, he said
to know how to speak to them.
He said they weren't trained. I mean, let's boil it down to really what he's saying. The Taliban soldiers haven't been trained to not rape women.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
It further goes on to say that rape gangs are starting to take over villages. And
I mean, there's also been reports from former Afghan police that have now made their way stateside that dudes were cruising around in groups, raping dead bodies when they couldn't find women around, right? So we're not exactly dealing with the best of the best over here. It's fucking garbage people, right? If you're a member of the Taliban, that's an immediate fucking death sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, if you think that he's kidding right now, this is actually being reported in the media right now. The exact wording is Taliban gangs are also having sex with dead bodies after going door to door for slaves, a terrified refugee claimed. The former Afghan police member identified only as Muskan, obviously I'm not pronouncing that right.
That's not his real name anymore.
No. Said militants don't care whether the person is dead or alive. So this is a real statement from the press that we're reading right now.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe. Although you did call it. I mean, literally word for word. You said the suicide bombings would start this week. Sure enough, they have, and
it's not going to stop there. Now that they've seen the weakness of response, what I would expect to see are rolling VBIED, like vehicle-borne IED bombing. So people driving up at rates of high speed and detonating somewhere between 100 and 500 pounds of explosives in the car. That's what that's into the crowds, into the gates, whatever it is. That's what you should expect to see next.
And how many people are estimated to be outside?
I don't know. I mean,
around the airport. You think?
2 days ago, it was like 20,000, 40,000, somewhere in that range, because people come and go. The State Department has told people to leave. The DOD has told people to leave. Go back to your hidey holes. For a while, they were telling them to go to the Ministry of Interior. That was a couple of days ago. Now it's just like, go home and fucking we'll see you later. So I don't know how many people are still standing out there. I would be surprised if there's any. And that's an even bigger problem for the U.S. at least, because if there's nobody standing out there in those crowds right now, then ISIS is just going to come after the base. You know what I mean? They're going to start launching. What happens when they start launching indirect fire, which is to say mortars?
Right.
Let's say they're set up a few hundred meters out or farther behind some kind of obstruction, a berm or whatever the fuck else, and they're launching mortars into that base. What's the U.S. going to do? Are they going to send out a patrol of 82nd because they didn't do it for this?
Right.
Like, how much is it going to take for us to get off our ass and fucking start doing something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. This one is, again, we're in uncharted territory. I can't remember somebody announcing a date in which you're going to leave, and therefore alerting everyone, well, they're leaving then, so let's go ahead and march and take over the city.
It would not be difficult for a relatively small force to kill everybody at that airport right now, to be honest. With a coordinated attack between VBIEDs and indirect fire followed by rockets and then a ground attack, right?
Yeah.
Where's the air support? Right? I mean, when something like this happens, you find a target and you kill it. It doesn't matter if that target had anything to do with this shit. You know what I mean? You find some Taliban or some ISIS somewhere and you fuck them up right then, immediately. You know what I mean? If you give people an inch like that, they'll take your life.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the expectation is. Who the fuck is in charge of our goddamn military? There is no infantry commander in the fucking world who would sit there and let his people get attacked and not fucking respond. I don't care who's giving him orders.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Get off your fucking ass.
And there was a rumor this week that Millie and Austin were going to fall on the sword and resign. I don't think you can do that right now, right? You're probably going to have to wait till next week or the week after, because we don't know how this is going to shake out. And if what we're hearing is true, that there will more than likely be more bombs in the morning and more destruction, you can't quit now, right? That's going to have to wait till next week, and then God knows how many bodies will pile up by then. Because right now, we still don't have an accurate number of how many people have died.
Yeah,
and that's going to take a while.
We won't know that until tomorrow, but there's more than likely going to be more attacks. I don't know about overnight. It depends. I don't think that ISIS has the night vision capability that the Taliban does, and I'm not sure how. Look, they just for context sake, for those of you that don't know, ISIS-K and the Taliban are not friends. ISIS-K believes that the Taliban is entirely too liberal, which is
the Taliban's too liberal, huh?
interesting enough. Yeah, but they do not like each other. So, but that doesn't mean that ISIS-K doesn't have people inside the Taliban, right? I mean, that's how they operate. So that wouldn't be surprising at all. They've had people inside of the Iraqi police for years. They've had people inside of the Afghan army for years. So that wouldn't be surprising at all, would it?
No.
Hard to say about that, but I doubt they'll be attacking at night. But what they will do is prey on the panic of those Afghan civilians. If things continue to worsen, if Afghan civilians are looking at the press and seeing that the U.S. isn't responding, they're going to make another run for that airport. And when that happens, fucking ISIS is going to show back up and start killing people.
Yeah. Well, look, based on the time zones that we're in, look, if you're up past midnight, I'm sure, sun will be up in the morning and this will resume. One would imagine, as well as the show will resume. Typically, we don't focus on one story like this. Strange day indeed, but here we are. We'll head to the next story today, which is Australia. It's got some insane lockdowns going on right now. And in response to increasing COVID rates, Australia recently enacted one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. Among other restrictions, residents are required to wear masks at all times when outdoors and must remain within 3 miles of their homes.
I've got another theory for you here. Mm-hmm. This is super fucked up, but it reminded me of something. So there's a pretty big theory circulating right now about Cuomo, right? And how it appears as though a lot of the Me Too stuff against him was coordinated, right? And this is what I said about, 6 months ago, that they're not going to be able to get him out on the COVID thing because admitting he was wrong is admitting they're wrong. So they get him on the Me Too thing and get him out of there. People forgot that he murdered all these old people, right? Whenever I walk, and whenever I'm walking and I see something in my field of view that looks like a threat to me, the first thing I do is look behind me to make sure there's not also a threat back there. And that's an instinct that you get when you are in combat situations, or just some people from being paranoid or whatever, but that is a good instinct to have. And when I see something flashy happening in the headlines, I like to turn to page 6 to see what's really going on, because all of this is fucking magician's patter. It really does make you wonder. Like, you have to be a complete buffoon to have fucked this up this badly. And not only does Biden have to be an idiot for this, but people down the chain have to have fallen in line with his fucking idiocy, right? That's an effort to make something like that happen. So what the fuck else is happening right now that they're trying to distract you from? And that leads into this story, because this lockdown bullshit that's happening in Australia is some of the wildest shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. By the way, they gave up all their guns in the 90s.
Yeah.
They had a mass shooting in the 90s, gave up all their guns.
Yeah.
Not all. A lot of people that still had guns didn't tell anybody and kept them, which is a good thing to do, by the way. But this stuff is why the Second Amendment exists. Like, fuck you, dude. Go into some of the details, because this shit this is some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And also the way they're talking about it. Like, the Department of Health woman put out a list of what you'll be allowed to do once you get vaccinated. Like, you can go outside of your home for 1 hour a day. Like, what am I, in fucking prison?
Lockdown? Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
A fucking DMX song, Who We Be. It says police in New South Wales recently requested 300 military personnel to help them enforce the lockdown orders. While the lockdown was allegedly put in place to save lives, it has recently led to multiple tragic deaths. A group of dogs were being held in an animal shelter in Coburn, waiting for volunteers to move them into a new shelter. Didn't they kill all these fucking dogs?
They were shooting rescues, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, fucking...
Because they were worried that the dogs were going to get COVID and
I
the people were going to
guess,
go
yeah.
out and try to grab the dogs and rescue them.
Yeah.
They were going to get COVID and spread it to everybody.
That's a good morale booster, by the way. It's like you've identified the fact that people care that much about the animal. So your position is, well, let's just kill them so they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Strange.
What the fuck kind of goddamn thinking is that? It's pathological. These people have lost their fucking minds and they need to be removed from power forcefully, if necessary. Forcibly, rather.
Yeah.
If necessary.
But they don't have, many of them don't have guns.
Like,
So.
it's Australia. You just pick up a fucking crocodile or a snake on the way. You don't need a gun.
Or just unleash some baby kangaroos in
Yeah.
there and see what happens. The local council caught wind of this plan, and to prevent the volunteers from traveling during the lockdown, they had the dogs all shot and killed, which I was talking about a second ago. After facing public outrage from the cruel decision, the government said, "We've been informed that the council decided to take this course of action to protect its employees and community, including the vulnerable Aboriginal populations, from the risk of COVID-19 transmission." The spokesman went on to state that the agency was examining the circumstances surrounding the incident to find out whether any animal cruelty laws have been broken. Are you kidding? So shooting the dogs wasn't enough. We'll identify if that was animal cruelty or not, you know? They were only killing them. So let's see. What would be the difference there? I guess if you Michael Vick the dogs and had them fight against each other?
I guess. I mean, there are certainly degrees of things, right? Mm-hmm. Putting a dog down is something that a lot of people have had to do, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, Old Yeller.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he got an attitude about something. I don't remember what it was. But, I mean, just like wholesale slaughtering animals that you don't know for sure are infected with stuff. It seems a little weird.
Atticus Finch, dude. You got to go full Atticus Finch on these dogs.
Didn't he fall out of a fucking tree or some shit?
I think the kid did.
Oh, no, it was Boo Radley.
Yeah, Boo Radley.
Boo Radley saved the kid.
Yeah.
Right?
After he fell out of the fucking
Scouts.
tree.
God, that was I don't remember stuff.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Great book.
Oh,
Next up, we got ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Apologize for reading sponsors today. That's the only way we're on the air, obviously. And all the employees and everything else. Strange day to do it, I know. Forgive me. 40% off Labor Day sale. Bundle packages, adjustable bases, mattresses, pillows, sheets, covers, you name it. You can bundle it together for 40% off. Use the promo code Drinkin Bros for 30% off everything else in the entire store if you don't choose to get the adjustable base package. As always, at ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros, 36-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest if you have decent credits, and all of the deals that I just mentioned can be involved in the 36-month pay-as-you-go option. That'll knock it down to like $35 to $38 a month. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today and get a jump on these Labor Day deals. Next up, Apple is the self-proclaimed greatest platform for distributing child porn.
seems like a weird thing to pat yourself on the back about.
Yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't the tone they were taking here.
No, Apple recently announced a controversial decision to begin scanning iPhones for child pornography. An explanation for the decision may have been found in a statement made last year by Apple's anti-fraud chief. While researching an unrelated lawsuit, a journalist found copies of group texts discussing their privacy. One of the messages was from Apple's anti-fraud chief, Eric Friedman, which read, "Our priorities are inverse, which is why we are the greatest platform for distributing child porn." When a fellow executive asked him if there was more child abuse material being distributed through Apple than other platforms, Eric simply responded, yes.
Well, look, it's not a bad thing that they're trying to do something about it. I don't think that people at Apple are sitting around twisting their mustaches and wringing their hands, laughing evilly about, like, we're going to fucking do this or that.
Right.
They're absolutely trying to both gather and exploit your personal data for capitalist purposes, for money. Mm-hmm. No question about that. And that opens up the possibility of that information being used against you in some kind of super negative way, right? We all know that that's happening. We all know that that anytime you give a private company access to stuff like that, they're going to leverage it in that way. And then sometimes with the telecommunication industry has done over the last 100 years or so, has been they've just been chugging the dong of the federal government. The NSA can listen to any call that's happening anywhere right now. It doesn't matter if it's on your iPhone or anywhere else, and it's not because of Apple.
Right.
I mean, say what you want about Apple, but they have gone to federal court to tell the U.S. government to go fuck itself when they tried to crack phones and stuff like that.
Right.
And even in the most fucked up situations, and they got heat for it at the time, and this is one of the most fucked up situations. Child pornography can't get any worse than that, right? That's the worst thing you can fucking do. So even worse, in my opinion, than fucking murder and hate crimes and shit like that. This is the worst. Even then, they put out this, they tried to come up with a plan to fucking identify these people and blah, blah, blah. And the problem is, right, that even in the worst scenario, we can't sacrifice the entirety of our liberty and privacy to defeat it, right? We have to find another way, because you can't sacrifice all of society for that. You have to find another way. That isn't to say you shouldn't try to stop it. And I think they realize that. Now, this is a business decision for them. Obviously, they don't want people throwing their phones away.
Sure.
But I understand the reaction, right? I mean, this is a visceral, we all react out of sorts sometimes when things are pushing our buttons in the moment, or even sometimes long term until we can get our fucking bearings. I don't want to be too harsh on Apple for trying to stop child pornography.
I don't either. And when I read this, I thought the same thing, where you're basically in a catch-22 here, because you know what's going on. And do you allow it to continue to keep happening, or do you actually do something about it, knowing one side or the other is going to bitch about privacy issues? And I'm not even talking politics here on this one. I'm just talking about any American citizen or anybody in the world who owns an iPhone, where if you're shocked, like Dan was saying, that the NSA couldn't listen to your conversations, if you're shocked that Apple knows this information, you shouldn't be. I just expect now that everything on my phone and or computer, iPad, laptop, whatever I have, somebody has full access to. With that being said, what are you supposed to do on the other side if you're Apple and you know all this is going on?
Well, I mean, understand what fucking it means to be a leader. And look, regardless of how you feel about that organization, Apple or their associated brands, they are a global leader because of the size and influence. The size of the company, the amount of money they make, and the influence they have over culture. They are a global leader. Corporal punishment, which is to say, one person fucks up and everybody gets punished, is fucking stupid, right? It just doesn't. We know for a fact from decades of studies on everything from interpersonal relationships to the workplace to interrogation, everywhere, that shit doesn't work, right? And coming up with a solution that is draconian, that sacrifices everyone's liberty for the sake of a very small minority of people, right, is a bad idea. This is laziness. We are smarter than this. We can figure out how to stop these motherfuckers, right? I mean, the first thing we could do is execute them as soon as they get caught, right? If you know that the reward for doing this stuff is instant death, that at least rings in your mind a little bit before you do it. Right? And if it doesn't, you're one of the ones that are not an opportunist but a pathological person, and you're going to fuck up anyways. We're going to find you. You know what I mean? That's not the kind of person that can blend in. The guy with the family, with the wife and kids, who's also raping children on the side, that guy, when he knows he's going to die because of it, probably won't, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, we don't really deal with issues in this country. We just bloviate, pontificate about them, talk a lot of shit, and then fucking spike the football and walk away when nothing gets done. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do in this case, because if you're Apple, what do you do? You say, hey, I'm going to go in and look the other way here. We've got all these cases and photos and everything else. We're going to look the other way.
I mean, it is why I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, maybe they should have some internal board. They can already see that everything you text, they can listen to your phone calls anytime they want to. They can fucking pull up, because it's on their fucking servers. All your information is passing through their
cloud, everything else.
And I assure you that there's nothing illegal about any of that. For an Apple employee to do it, for them to turn stuff over to the government, that's a different story, right? But what if it was an imminent terrorist threat? Would you expect them to alert the government or not?
Yes.
I would, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some middle ground between these two things, between day-to-day law enforcement and an imminent threat. There's got to be some middle ground where, I don't know, maybe people who are investigators work for Apple, right? And they stand up their own organic team inside of Apple that handles that shit, right? And then they send somebody like, they pass that information off instead of to a government entity to somebody like one of the organizations who does that work privately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe that's a solution. I don't know, but it's not this. This is obviously not the solution.
Right. Yeah, and look, Apple certainly has the money. If they wanted to set up their own, task force, for lack of a better phrase, they certainly could. But then where does the information go, and how do you explain why and how you got it? The fact that they know this much already, 'cause this has been pretty public this week. I know it's been buried a little bit because of what's going on in Afghanistan, but this has been very, very public this week, and there is a great debate over what one should do. Being a parent myself, if you knew it, I would want the information out there to the police and everybody else. But with privacy laws, I'm not sure how that's possible and how you can justify it in a court of law,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's like those fucking criminals who break it into your house and then they get hurt inside your house. Like hey, I fell through the window and broke my leg trying to rob your house. And then you're suing the homeowners for not having, an extra safety rail next to the stairs where they came in at. It's like, well, what the fuck are we doing here? So could the criminals then use those same laws and go into court and say, hey, they weren't supposed to look through my phone. This is privacy and you have to get a warrant for this. I'm not sure if there is a law for that right now, but something has to be done.
Kind of how Bill Cosby stayed out of jail or got out of jail.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, that was just shitty, obviously, prosecution there, but
Avenatti's trial got mishandled as well.
he repped himself, by the way.
Yeah.
And he got himself out of that.
Well, he didn't get himself out. It was a procedural error, apparently.
It was, yeah. But he was the one who went to the judge and said, hey, man, they didn't give me this evidence.
Yeah.
And I'm representing myself, and they had no choice but to declare it a mistrial. He's still going away for 2.5 for something else. I think embezzlement or something. But he saved himself 5 to 10 on that one, I can tell you that. By the way, if you're watching at home and you like the fucking gear we got on, we got the new hats in the store at drinkinbros.com. The store is open, fully stocked. The defund politicians, everything is in there. Today would have been a great day to wear that, Dan. Mugs, as you see in front of us, everything. Go to drinkinbros.com and make your submission. Also, you can make your purchase and also make your submission for Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which we do at the end of every show. However, we have a Drinkin' Bro in the week in the studio today, which is nice. Because we usually just say, hey, pop on by the studio if you're here, and then we'll just put you on the show. So at the end of this one, we got one of our favorite listeners here who will get the Drinkin' Bro of the Week today. But otherwise, you can go to drinkinbros.com, peruse the store, make a submission for Drinkin' Bro of the Week, and enjoy yourself. Man, the next story is two combining one here with other stories. Andrew Cuomo abandoned his dog. Andrew Cuomo apparently wasn't happy with being the only hated person for being a sexual predator. He's also a dick to animals.
Yeah, that's the red line for a lot of people. I mean, Dennis Miller used to joke about this in like 2004 and 5, and he goes, the liberals weren't really pissed off until they saw the Taliban abusing dogs. That's when they got involved in the fight, right? Which is obviously that's goofy, but again, people care deeply about these animals.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you what kind of person he is. I mean, my understanding, I talked to some people that work up there and not at the mansion itself, but they do, how do I say that politely or gently rather? I can't say it. There's no way to say it. They're involved in some of the day-to-day operations that surround the governor sometimes.
Sure.
Right? Okay, great. So what they told me was that the governor said, hey, does anybody want this dog?
Right.
To the staff. And everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
And then he just left.
Yeah. He just left. Was the dog part of the political thing of because I know every politician.
Maybe the dog ratted him out.
Has to have a dog, maybe.
Like the dog testified to Letitia James.
Yeah.
And she's like, he did what to your what? Is that
The dog's name is Captain. I wonder if he said I'm the captain now, and maybe that pissed him off.
May have.
I don't know.
I mean, if that's the case, then he's probably Somali. In which case, you got to keep an eye on that dog.
Yeah. Do you throw a Badoo sign like on the way out to the dog of like, "Hey man, I'm out"?
I mean, he's got nipple rings, so
Yeah.
who knows, right? He may have. I mean, so it actually says here in the article. I didn't know that this had leaked publicly. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, he asked the staff if they wanted the goddamn dog, and everyone was like, okay, cool. Cuomo left him at the executive mansion and then went to stay with his sister. Captain, a German Shepherd, or a Shepherd Siberian, and Malamute mix. That's a good fucking mix of dogs. Damn.
He's up on the screen.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. That's a nice dog. What is that? A Siberian Husky?
It's a mix of a German Shepherd, a Siberian, and a Malamute.
No shit.
That's a good mix.
That's an expensive dog.
He's had a troubled history and bitten a few staff members since his adoption. Obviously, Democrats have a problem keeping their dogs from biting people, I guess.
Yeah.
According to sources near Cuomo, the dog nipped at several state police officers, and the governor would just laugh at him. One of the mansion's staff members took the dog home and attempted to care for him, but brought him back after a few days due to bad behavior. So hopefully the dog will find a trainer. That's a very smart animal right there. Just based on the fucking breeds rather, that dog can be trained relatively easily just with a little. And it just goes to show you how much of a pussy Cuomo is too. Like that's not an alpha. An alpha doesn't let a dog misbehave around them. Like a dog is a pack animal. An alpha they don't even think about it. Just instinctively, hey, shut the fuck up. And that dog will shut the fuck up, right? Because that's how that works. No matter how aggressive a dog is, unless there's something mentally wrong with them and like a chemical imbalance or they've had brain damage, you can usually train that dog, at least to not bite random people, right? If you have to expose them to different stuff, put them through formal training and have them around other people a lot, which this dog clearly was if he's walking around the governor's mansion.
Yeah.
This goes to show you what a pussy Cuomo is, right? The dog wasn't defending him. That's not what it was. Because when they took him home, he was still acting poorly. Like if you have a dog that's aggressive sometimes when it's around, it's usually around whenever it's around its mom, like whoever the mother figure in your family is, and that's the one it's attached to, especially if it's on a leash, it'll go wild. Like, because it thinks it's in protect mode right now. Then when it goes home with this other family, that shit's over. That dog doesn't even remember that.
Right.
It's not, the stimulus isn't there in front of him. The fact that he's still being a dick at that person's home means he just took no effort in training this dog whatsoever.
Maybe the dog had COVID. You never know.
Maybe
Cuomo was just like, look, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Should have sent the dog to a nursing home.
I gotta get the fuck out of here.
So a spokesman for Governor Cuomo defended the former governor, saying the following. He wants to go on vacation. He didn't ask to give the dog away. That's not what he asked. He didn't ask to give the dog away. So he wanted to go on vacation, and he was asking his former staff to hang on to the dog, and I guess he was just going to hit him up on the celly later.
Yeah.
After he goes to Martha's Vineyard or whatever.
Text him. Hey, just take this to a boarding
What a fucking clown
place,
this guy is.
and then I'll be back when I get
But he's a good
chance.
guy, right? According to the Gooch.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. Next up in the old sponsor world, we got the Pure Jerky, purejerkyco.com. Finest jerky in the land. A local Austin company that we've partnered up with, and best in the biz. If you've had a better jerky, I'll let you slap me in the face, but you got to give me the jerky in person. Go to purejerkyco.com today. Use the promo code Drinkin Bros for 10% off. Yes, they do have a subscription. I just got it the other day because we keep running out of it, and it's in my house, so these fucking jackals don't eat it. They've got two flavors. They get the mild, and then they get the spicy. It's a famous chef here out of Austin, and I've never had jerky this fucking good. Go to purejerkyco.com today. Promo code Drinkin Bros, 10% off, and they get the, let's see, what is it? 4-pack for $25, 8-pack for $50, and then they got the box that you see here for $70. And again, that's subscription of the month. That's a real nice thing. Go to purejerkyco.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros get you 10% off there. Next up, the Pentagon announces that all soldiers are required to get the vaccination. How's that going over? This has been another hot topic this week. How's that going over?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I know that the Marine Corps, I think we're 80% done, and the Marine Corps and Navy were 80% done. The Air Force slightly less than that, but the Army was all the way down at 50%, right? And There's a lot more people in the Army. They're also distributed over a lot greater area. So I don't know how that's going to go. I know that they should probably focus on the fucking war first, right? Because a lot more, I think about if you take all the people in the military, the entire military that have died from COVID, it's about double the amount who've died today that we know about, right? It's like in the low 20s, I think, something like that. Absolutely unnecessary for any of this. These people are extremely resistant to pathogens because, one, they're exposed to them all the time, two, they're young and healthy. So what the fuck, right? And then, not to get ahead of ourselves here.
Well, look, I want to read this memo by Lloyd Austin because he's been so great over the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Why not just continue his brilliance today? To defend this nation, he says, we need a healthy and ready force after careful consultation with medical experts and military leadership and with the support of the president. I have determined that mandatory vaccination against coronavirus disease is necessary to protect the force and defend the American people.
Right.
According to Pentagon data, there we go, Ross, more than 800,000 service members have yet to get their shots. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a few. What's interesting is this bombshell study out of Tel Aviv. It's not been peer reviewed yet, so I don't want to get too, that's what I mean when I say I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but it's a multi-month study with nearly 80,000 people in the test group, right? From the Maccabi Healthcare and Tel Aviv University organizations in Tel Aviv and Israel. One of the most vaccinated, actually probably the most vaccinated country in the entire world, right? They got their shit up really fast. Now they're getting ready to give themselves a third shot.
With Pfizer, too.
With Pfizer.
Yeah, so
which is the best, as it were, right? The one that maintains its
we got a competition going on amongst our producers here. Delco Dan, you've got Pfizer. Bob, what do you have? Moderna?
No, I got Johnson & Johnson.
You got Johnson & Johnson.
Get the JJ.
You're fucking dead, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I'm getting that booster pretty soon. We're getting that second shot,
Yeah, you'll be getting 8 more by the end of the year, my man.
Or you should probably not get any because the name of this study is, let me find it right here, superiority of natural immunity over immunity from vaccination. Now, that might be something you've heard me yelling at a former White House press secretary about just this very week, right? Because it's basic goddamn science, I guess, but apparently not this time. We're having to relearn. Well, we'll get there. We're having to relearn science right now, right? Because of this political nonsense. It's stupid. But so
believe in all science now.
Here's one of the quotes. Fully vaccinated but uninfected people were significantly more likely to have a, quote, breakthrough COVID infection than people who had previously been infected and recovered from the disease. So without time constraints, that is to say, without measuring when they've had COVID or when they had the vaccine, right? The likelihood of infection among double vaccinated by Pfizer versus previously infected, meaning... well, you've had both too, right? Did you have COVID, Bob? Yeah. Yeah. So you guys have had both. We'll get to that in a minute. But for someone that's not had the virus but now has the vaccine, according to this 80,000 person study, the person that has not had the virus but double vaccinated by Pfizer is 5.96 times more likely to be infected than I am, who have had the virus, not had the vaccine. Okay, good. Likelihood of symptomatic infection among double vaccinated by Pfizer versus just the previously infected, 7.13 times higher. So you're 6 times more likely to get the goddamn thing and 7 times more likely to suffer consequences from it, right? To have symptoms, hospitalization, etc. After 3 months post-vaccine, so the likelihood of infection among double vaccinated by Pfizer versus previously infected, 13 times higher to get infected, 27 times more likely to suffer symptoms. I'm done talking about it, man. Let's just get this fucking war going. Because if we're not, if people are going to use things that are demonstrably untrue, right, that you can just look up on the internet to chase you down the streets, fucking inject you with shit, tell you can't go outside, tell you can't run your fucking business. Well, fuck you, buddy. Right? Let's get this going. I'm just tired of all the fucking buildup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're watching a movie and you figured out the ending already. And you're like, let's just get this fight scene going, bro. I know what's going to happen. Let's get the fight scene going.
I wonder if Australians are thinking the exact same thing and locked inside their house with fucking military and shit over their houses for COVID right now.
Yeah, that part is really bizarre.
Because imagine if that happened here.
Yeah.
That would probably be your fucking kickoff, right? That would be your pregame. By the way, I just got a text from Eric Tansey, yet another person who's saying the same thing. He says another explosion, 12 U.S. casualties, and this one, 60 Afghans is what he's saying. That's the seventh person who's told us that in the last hour right now.
Also, Politico just came out with an article. Big props to, I don't know these people, but Lara Seligman, Alexander Ward, and Andrew Desiderio or some shit like that. Here's the title of the article, and I probably don't need to say anything after this title, but we'll talk about it a little bit. So the title is, U.S. officials provided Taliban with names of Americans and Afghan allies to evacuate. So the Taliban was set up at these checkpoints, and the American government decided to give them the names of all of our people, the Americans and the Afghans, so that they can know who should and shouldn't come through the gate. And what the Taliban did was allow the Americans through and kill the Afghanis that were trying to come through.
No.
Who could have seen that coming?
Nah, no one. It's the same as giving a date to get out of there. Let's just tell everybody when we're leaving.
Literally 2 days ago, the Taliban spokesperson, this is probably on his Twitter too, which he still has, by the way.
Yeah.
Just said the other day that it is against our withdrawal agreement to remove Afghans from the country. So they wanted us to leave those people there so they could kill them.
Yeah.
Right? And then we gave them their names.
Win, all we do is win this week. Fuck, man. That's crazy. By the way, Eric Tansey's on a Failure to Stop tomorrow live on Mike the Cop's page, and then Tailgate Legends on Drinkin Bros Sports on Saturday. Check out those shows as well. Last but not least here, OnlyFans will continue to allow pornography on their platform. So at least we have one thing to celebrate. I know this has been a dark episode, god damn it, but OnlyFans is letting porn back on their fucking website. Finally something we can all celebrate as a nation this week. Giorgio in particular, because my God, he lives off of that.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped talking about how he's going to have to go back and be a waitress now or whatever.
Yeah.
What else? What were the other potential career opportunities? Flight attendant.
Real estate.
Real estate is one. Yeah.
Everyone's backup job.
Everyone's backup jobs. Yeah. So what's Giorgio? How many people do you follow on OnlyFans? What's that number?
Follow about 13. So there's about 13 local Austin businesses that will need employment, I guess, as well.
Is Lisa Ann? Did you follow her? Did you end up following her?
I was trying to, but I forgot I lost one of my credit cards that was attached to OnlyFans. And so
You have to re-enter the number or something.
They don't take crypto?
and that was too much.
Fucking Amazon does that to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like you have your credit cards loaded into Amazon, and then just randomly every now and again it's like, hey, can you re-enter that number? Like, no, I already entered it. That's the reason I told you to save it, fuckface. God damn it.
It's very annoying.
I'm sorry, Giorgio.
Yeah, because I was like really ready for it, and you're just like, yeah, you can't stop.
Well, the good news is you don't really need to pay anything to see Lisa Ann naked.
No. That's everywhere.
Millions of hours of that shit, and pretty much anywhere you look.
Tons. But I'm just glad you'll be able to live your life.
Yeah.
Because you have an OnlyFans. You are also a member and a user.
What is this, the fucking hair club for men?
It is.
Not only am I a goddamn owner, I'm a client, motherfucker. I mean, look, I feel I do see a lot of women who promote their OnlyFans on Instagram promoting other people a lot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like they'll promote me back so I'll absorb some of their followers, or if it's just like maybe it's the rising tide thing.
It's I've noticed this recently. It's almost like a group collective. Do you guys remember MySpace? Were either one of you on MySpace? There's things called whore trains where you would just like list a bunch of people below you, and they would they'd list you there for a little while as your top friends to all like their followers, and then they would follow you really quickly. So girls will post like a sample of another girl's OnlyFans on her OnlyFans.
Great.
And she'd be like, hey, come check my friend out. out, use my promo code Natalie to get 20% off her subscription this month. And then possibly they'll collab on a piece of work in the future. And you always kind of wait and hope for that as well.
Got it. And just so we're clear, that was whore trains, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I didn't want to mispronounce that.
Joey Jones, who's a
phrase.
contributor on Fox News sometimes, you may follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just tweeted out, he was talking, he's in D.C. right now, I think. He says, a United States military general officer just told the world we are relying on the Taliban to protect us.
Yeah. And they're treating it like it's a nightclub. They have a list, Dan, and if you're not on that list, or they don't like your appearance when you show up, you don't get to come in the club tonight.
Well, look, this isn't the Tim Kennedy show, guys.
No, it's not. What a shitty thing to say. Who was that? Say that guy's name one more time.
His name is, let me look up his entire name. Give me just a sec.
Yeah, go for the government name.
Because he needs...
go for the full one here. Again, Tim used his own fucking money to go over there.
He's the 1st Brigade, 82nd Airborne Commander. His name is Theodore Kleisner. He goes by Teddy, apparently.
Teddy.
Kleisner. This isn't the Tim Kennedy show.
Yeah. Teddy.
Sweet. So you're worried about the credit then, Teddy?
Yeah.
Is that it? You're worried about Tim getting credit for shit or doing stuff when you can't? Motherfucker, if you're, let's just say, let's do a very brief thought experiment before we get out of here.
Sure.
Right? Let's say you are a police officer, right? And your hands are effectively tied when it comes to certain types of criminals, pedophiles being one of them, right?
Right.
Because the natural human instinct is to murder that motherfucker. If all of a sudden there was some guy in your fucking town murdering pedophiles, are you going to say this isn't the fucking Tim Kennedy show?
Yeah, the Dave show.
Or are you going to be like, you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Right? And then you call them after and say, hey, what can I do to help? Right? I mean, be Willem Dafoe. I know this is a ridiculous comparison, but be Willem Dafoe and Boondock Saints. Be the kind of person that when somebody comes into your AO and they're able to accomplish your mission when you can't, instead of getting butthurt about it, thank them. Because the mission is what was important.
Yeah, and I don't understand the need for the fucking glad handing on this one. Like, however the job gets done, it gets done. Who fucking cares?
Military commanders have always been about the glory, right? I mean, a lot of campaigns have been fucked up by that. A lot of people have made bad moves by entering a battle space that they didn't need to necessarily go into, and they fucked up a bigger plan because they wanted glory on the battlefield. Now, a lot of careers have been made that way as well. If you've watched Generation Kill, you can see that fucking that colonel that's just like constantly trying to get them into the mission all the time. It's not for the mission. It's not for anything but him.
Right.
Right? These people are fucking garbage. They're the worst human beings possible not because they're bad people alone, but because they told everybody they were good. And then they put themselves in a position where everybody else depended on their goodness, and they failed them. That makes them way worse than just some asshole is sitting at home watching this on television.
Part of this, Dan, let me ask you this. Is part of this with the bombings and everything else that's going on right now because the world is watching and there is so much media and press and focus on what is happening there that ISIS is just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, now's our time to get back on the world stage.
I mean,
again.
I don't know if it's the press per se. It's certainly the power vacuum. For sure, yeah. No, that BT Bates, that colonel wasn't based on Mattis. The guy with the weird raspy voice, no. Mattis was a general then.
Mattis was played in Generation Kill.
Yeah, he's played by, what's that actor's name? Hold on.
I don't remember the name. I just know he's Chuck Bass's dad in Gossip Girl.
Shit. He's great.
Yeah,
in Gossip Girl.
You would know
Colonel Dowdy.
Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl.
He's my favorite character.
Colonel Joe Dowdy is the guy that was in that.
XOXO.
Colonel Joe Dowdy, D-O-W-D-Y. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm a big Gossip Girl. They remade it at HBO and it fucking sucks.
Pass. Yeah, I'm not watching that shit.
No. I'm Chuck Bass till I die.
I liked him on Californication.
Robert Burke is the guy's name. He's a really good actor.
Robert Burke.
You've seen him.
Yes. You've seen him. He's a great
shit.
character actor. You've seen him a ton of shit.
He was in, I actually remember this. He was in Thinner.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
Weird
All
ass
right.
movie.
Yeah.
He was in Two Guns. Save.
Put his picture up, Bob. You're doing this man an injustice. Show the audience who Robert Burke is.
I see him listed in Tombstone, but I don't remember.
Tell people that you love them while they're here, Bob, not when they're gone. Put his picture up on the screen. Show everybody who this lovely man is. You'll know exactly who it is as soon as we show his face. Boom. I only see Chuck Bass's dad, but that's me. That's me. He's done a lot of shit, though. Yeah, blow that up. Look at that.
I think, he was in Copland.
Very cocksure.
He's a good-looking man.
Cocksure.
Yeah. And he's actually a really good actor, too. I'm surprised he hasn't... it never really hit.
Character guy.
Yeah.
You need the good character actors. I like him.
That's a problem, though. If you get cast as a character actor too much early in your career, it's hard to break through to a main guy.
It's tough, but you work forever and you get to do the coolest shit all the time.
That's why what Chris Pratt has done, and I'm really excited. I mean, we love the Terminal List series, and we love Chris Pratt as well. He's a fucking like an outstanding human being. If things had gone slightly differently in his life, Chris Pratt would probably be standing next to Tim Kennedy right now, frankly, for anybody that knows him. So he's a great dude. And we also, I mean, look, that series, all the books that Homeboy writes are fucking great.
Is Jack Carr?
Yeah. I mean, he's really good. So I'm looking forward to that shit. But forget about all that. Just for Pratt to be able to break out of the Andy Dwyer character. I mean, imagine Rainn Wilson.
Yeah.
Right over here. You can't see him on this shot, but imagine Rainn Wilson being anything other than Dwight Schrute. It has ruined his career because he is so Dwight Schrute. You know what I mean?
I know.
And to be honest, at the time, I was like, damn, Chris Pratt is always going to be Andy Dwyer to me.
Yeah.
But
him and Krasinski did the same thing where they're like, we need to go full military. Every fucking thing we do.
Yeah, it worked better, I would say, than Elizabeth Berkley's foray into acting.
She was great. She's still beautiful, though. God bless her.
But,
God bless her heart.
I mean, and the same thing, Jessica Biel actually did it pretty well.
Bielster, yeah.
Yeah, she was that was a thing with her when she left Seventh Heaven. She was worried she would just be typecast as a good girl forever and wouldn't be a sex symbol to people.
She ended up doing a real slutty display in a magazine, and they were none too plus.
Yeah,
the executives over at CW.
Yeah, that probably is what ended that series, to be honest. But it turns out the dad in that show was a fucking pedophile the whole time.
Yeah, so now it's wiped.
Yeah.
They don't even. Yeah. There's not even reruns of it anymore or syndication.
Do you still get your syndication money? I guess not.
No, it's yanked.
Jesus.
That and the Cosby Show.
I don't believe there's a diddle clause.
No. I mean, like if they pull the films, like usually that's stuff.
Once it's pulled, it's pulled. Like,
oh,
you can't go back. So now's the point of the show. We get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week. He's here. Dallas, why don't you come on up, my man? We will close out the show with you. The microphone is not as loud as you think, so you're gonna have to put it up probably about an inch from your mouth there, Dallas. Welcome. You brought us some delicious enchiladas. Are those enchiladas?
Chili Colorado burritos.
Chili Colorado burritos.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell the difference of those.
I mean, it's all the same vehicle. It's just a
great.
different wrapping on all of them.
Yeah.
It's the same meat sauce on everything.
But it just goes right in your pie hole.
So good. Yeah.
You're the first person to bring a home cooked meal to the studio, and we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, well everybody looks pretty hungry around here, and
Yes.
so I figured, good home cooked meal in the middle
We're
of the day.
all
Power up.
huge men.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we appreciate it. Tell everybody your full name.
Dallas Benham.
There you go. And you live here in Austin.
Yeah, I live out in Dripping Springs now.
I ran into you at the AEW event.
Yeah. First we ran into at the drive-thru with Starbucks.
That's right.
Yeah.
But everybody was masked up, and we didn't really know, and all that other
Yeah,
shit.
it was like 7:30 in the morning, and you were already wearing a bandana and like just yelling at people. So like, I knew it was going to be a great day. And then the
Was
second
that really?
time, yeah, at the AEW.
Oh, it's so funny.
Nice.
Because the bandana is real. Everybody asks why I wear it. It's simply just because it's fucking hot here. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn hot that I sweat a lot.
Yeah, it's a different energy though if you're like starting your day with the bandana. Like if if you're like, oh, I just got done mowing the lawn or brought the groceries up and you tie a bandana on, it's a lot different than you're like, I'm going full bandana all day.
People don't know whether or not, because you've been here, we've met a bunch of times. People don't know. They're like, hey, are you guys really like that on the show? I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's real. Like, it's real. And when you come here, we're like, help yourself. Drink whatever you want. Get fucked up. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's the exact same energy.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Nothing changes in real life. Where are you at now?
I'm out in Marble Falls.
Ah,
is
shit.
where
That's
I'm working.
beautiful out there.
It's really nice. There's actually like a telescope on our porch.
Is it really?
Which is weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and so like we're right there on the Colorado River.
Yeah,
nice.
I've seen those a lot out here at Texas houses because we're up in hill country. Obviously I'm in Dripping Springs. It's a lot of people have telescopes. The views are amazing because there's some light ordinance where they don't let you shine lights directly up into the air.
Yeah. Yeah,
So you can
we
see
have
the
the same
stars and
thing in our
everything.
neighborhood. Yeah,
It's
and
beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice. I mean, driving around at night though, you have to be really careful because of deer and everything. But
Yeah.
if you're just looking for stars, it's great outside.
I was like, why do so many people have brush guards here?
Yeah.
It's for the fucking deers.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see a brush guard on like a Honda Civic, that's why.
That's why, yeah. We were trying to get trucks for this tax thing. To get tax credits at the end of the year, you got to get like a 6,000 pound vehicle. And there was one, and the guy's like, man, I got the president of Roku's truck if you want to buy that. He just turned it in. He bought like $120,000 fucking tricked out Raptor and all this other shit. I was like, all right, cool, what is it? And I went over there. It was like your normal car, but he had a fucking huge brush guard on it. And I was like, does he live near a lot of deer? And
Yeah,
he goes,
yeah.
owns a lot of property. And I was like, okay, fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Look, you listen to the show, you know the drill. Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the week to for you? Who's been somebody that has been important or has inspired you in this life?
Well, today I got to shout out my wife, Sarah. What up, spouse?
What up, spouse?
Partly because I left all the dirty dishes from the Colorado burritos in the kitchen. And so I'm really hoping to beat traffic home so I don't feel that later. But
Well, look, it's 3:15 now. You'll be good to go now. It's funny you say that because the last time Tim Kennedy was here, he was headed out that way as well. And he goes, hey, man, he gave me the wink. And I was like, no, I definitely know you want to beat traffic because we're downtown.
yeah, you got to pass. You got to at least get past the Y.
Have to. Got to get past the
around
Y
that 4
in
o'clock,
time.
because then otherwise you'll just sit there all day.
No, and I appreciate it. So we'll let you out of here, and hopefully the missus isn't too mad. The burritos were delightful, and they were well worth it. So the dishes you're going to do in preparation for him coming home tonight, just know the burritos were delightful. Please forgive him. And Dallas, thanks for stopping by and listening to the show. We greatly appreciate it. As always, go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. That is the only thing that the advertisers care about in this world, and the charts and all that stuff. So go to iTunes. I don't care if you have an Android, just steal someone's phone, punch the fucking 5-star and leave a 1-sentence review. That's really what helps keep us in the charts. It has been 6 consecutive years we've been in the top 100 on iTunes, and it is all because of you guys. We appreciate you tuning in today. Anybody in Afghanistan, hopefully you come home safely. For D'Anthony Holloway, Dallas, and his Colorado burritos, I'm Ross Patterson. This is Drinkin' Bros Fake News. Good night, everyone.